Hello everyone, welcome to Storytime with Charis. I'm going to be reading today a book titled Daisy and the Trouble with Maggots by Kes Gray. Okay, so get your drinks, get your snacks, gather your little ones because this is a story time, and sit back, kick back, and enjoy. Chapter 1. The trouble with maggots is they are too wriggly. If maggots weren't so wriggly, then what happened yesterday when I went fishing with my Uncle Clive would never have happened at all. It's not my fault maggots are so wriggly or tiggly. Maggots are about the wriggliest, tiggliest things in the world, especially when you shoot them through the air with a fishing catapult. Fishing catapults make maggots really wriggle-tiggle and go a long way and land in places where you were only kind of, but not actually, definitely aiming for. Especially when it's windy. Well, sort of windy. Okay, not that windy. All right, not very windy at all. But the sun was definitely shining in my eyes, which meant I couldn't really see where I was aiming with the catapult, which isn't my fault. Chapter 2. Fishing is the best. When my Uncle Clive asked me if I wanted to go fishing with him on Sunday, I didn't even know what fishing was. I didn't even know what a maggot looked like, or a bait box. Now I do. Now I know loads about fishing, more than Jack Beachwhistle anyway, and Harry Bayliss. It was 2 Sundays ago that Uncle Clive asked me if I wanted to go fishing with him. He came over to our house with Auntie Sue and said he had bought a new fishing rod and was busting to try it out. That's the trouble with new fishing rods. They make you want to go fishing even more. First of all, he asked my mom if she thought I would like to go fishing with him, and then he asked my mom if she wanted to come too. The trouble with asking my mom if she wants to go fishing is my mom doesn't really like fishing as much as me. I don't know why, because fishing is absolutely brilliant. Maybe she thought she'd have to touch the maggots. Anyway, it didn't really matter, because my Auntie Sue doesn't like fishing as much as me and Uncle Clive either. But she does like picnics, and so does my mom. So that's what we did. We went fishing and picnicking all together at the same time. Picnics and fishing go really well together, especially if it's a nice hot summery day like yesterday was, and especially if you go to the river at Papa Mill Lock where all the river boats are. Chapter 3. The trouble with riverboats is Jack Beachwhistle thinks he knows everything about them. When I went to school last Monday, I couldn't wait to tell Gabby I was going to be going fishing with my Uncle Clive. Trouble is, Jack Beachwhistle was listening when I told her. That's the trouble with Jack Beachwhistle. He's got ears the size of an elephant. Jack Beachwhistle thinks he knows everything about rivers, especially riverboats. Just because he goes to Paper Mill Lock on Sundays to do canoeing lessons, he thinks that makes him an expert on everything in the whole world. Jack Beachwhistle says he's canoed past loads of riverboats, which definitely makes him an expert on them. Plus, he said being the captain of his own boat makes him a double expert. Me and Gabby said that a canoe wasn't a type of boat at all because it didn't have an anchor. Plus, proper boat captains wear hats. But Jack Beachwhistle said he did wear a hat when he was canoeing. It was a special safety hat, like a crash helmet, with straps that did up and everything, and he wore a life jacket. Jack Beachwhistle said that life jackets and canoe hats were better than captain's hats any day. Then he said he knew more about fishing than me too, and ducks. So I called him a poopy face, but he didn't listen. He just kept telling me about fishing. Jack Beachwhistle says he has canoed past loads of people when they were fishing, which means he knows all about fishing and riverboats and everything, which makes him a triple-dipple expert. So I said he was a triple-dipple poopy head, but he didn't listen. Again, even with those great big elephant ears, he didn't listen. So I ignored him for the total rest of the day. Chapter 4. When I asked my mum if a canoe was a proper type of boat, she said that it was, even if it didn't have an anchor, which made me really cross. Then she told me that it was wrong to call people triple-dipple poopy heads, or even single-dingle poopy heads. So I shall say sorry to Jack Beachwhistle when I saw him at school the next day, which made me even crosser. I was still feeling cross when I woke up on Tuesday morning. I was cross when I got dressed. I was cross when I had my breakfast. I was cross when I cleaned my teeth. I was cross when I put my packed lunch into my school bag. And I was still cross when I got to school. So there was no way I was going to say sorry to Jack Beachwhistle. There was no way I was going to say anything to Jack Beachwhistle ever again. But he made me. He waited by the school gates with Harry Baylis, and he made me talk to him and listen to him. So did Harry Baylis. The trouble with Harry Baylis is he's a triple-dipple poopy head as well. He's only done about 2 canoeing lessons, and he thinks he's an expert in fishing and riverboats too. When I saw Harry and Jack waiting by the school gates, I just knew they were waiting for me, and I just double knew they were going to tell me all about riverboats and fishing again. And guess what? I was right. I was right on Tuesday. I was right on Wednesday. I was right on Thursday. And I was right on Friday too. It made me so cross. So cross. Chapter 5. Okay. Guess what they told me on Tuesday? They said that some fish have real actual teeth. Real actual teeth that can bite through fruitcakes. The trouble with Paper Mill Lock is it got a cafe that sells fruitcake and everything. Harry Bailey said if you dropped a slice of fruitcake into the river beside Paper Mill Lock Cafe, a fish with really big teeth will swim up and swallow it in one go. Jack Beachwhistle said that if I wanted to catch a fish with big teeth out of Paper Mill River on Sunday, that I should absolutely, definitely put a slice of fruitcake on my hook. Then Harry Bailey said I should try a chocolate mini roll with the wrapper off. But I didn't want to catch a fish with big teeth anyway. I'd much rather catch a roach. On Wednesday morning, when I got to school, Harry Baylis and Jack Beachwhistle were waiting outside the school gates again. Guess what they told me this time? They told me that once when they were canoeing in the big pool right by Paper Mill Lock, they saw a canoe get eaten by a shark. Luckily, there wasn't anyone in it. Otherwise, the person driving the canoe would have been eaten too. At first, I didn't believe there were sharks living in Paper Mill Lock. But then Jack Beachwhistle told me that the pool they do canoeing practice in was about 2 miles deep in the middle. 2 miles is easily deep enough for a shark to live in, and a killer whale. Harry Bailey said he saw a huge killer whale when he was practicing his kayak rolls. The trouble with kayak rolls is you have to do canoeing to know what they are. You can see the paddle. Kayak is another word for a canoe. And a kayak roll is like a sideways roly-poly in a canoe under the water. Jack Beachwhistle said you need to be an expert to do kayak rolls in a canoe. Your head has to go under the water. Your shoulders have to go under the water. Everything sticking out of your canoe has to go right under the water until you go all the way under in a circle and turn your canoe up the right way again without dying. Harry said that learning to do kayak rolls is really scary at first because you think you're going to drown when your head goes under the water. But after you come up the right way and you haven't died, you stop worrying so much. I said if you asked me, kayak rolls sounded silly. I said if I was driving a canoe, I'd stay the right way up in my canoe all the time. But Jack Beachwhistle said that kayak rolls were super important. Trouble is, he couldn't think why. Harry said it was when he was trying to do a kayak roll for the first time that he saw the killer whale in Paper Mill Pool. He said he was upside down in his canoe, holding his breath and looking straight down below him when this huge black and white shape loomed towards him out of the depths. I said it might have been Free Willy, because Free Willy definitely escapes at the end of the film he's in, so who knows where he escaped to. Maybe he moved to Paper Mill Lock. But Harry said the killer whale he saw was much scarier than Free Willy. He said it had really starry eyes and red teeth, and that it lit its lips when it saw him. That's the trouble with killer whales. If they're not Free Willy, they're probably going to eat you. Luckily, Harry still had his paddle in his hands, so he used it to bash the whale right between the eyes. Harry says if you bash a killer whale between the eyes with a paddle, it will scare it away for certain. Jack Beachwhistle said that if I wanted to catch a killer whale or a massive shark when I went fishing with my Uncle Clive, I should definitely cast my bait into the middle of the pool at Paper Mill Lock. But I didn't want to catch a killer whale or a massive shark anyway. I'd much rather catch a dace. All right, so we will be stopping at chapter 5 for this week on Daisy and the Trouble with Maggots by Kes Gray. I hope you enjoyed my reading. This is my first time at Storytime. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you again next time as we continue Daisy and the Trouble with Maggots. See you then.